this company went bust. And they'd already taken like half of that money and basically done nothing with it. Turns out that All Here Education, prior to guaranteeing delivery of this $11 million chatbot, actually had revenue of $11,000. People involved with All Here Education, not the superintendent, but the actually involved with that company, have now since been arrested for fraud.
The fact that that's even a news story, like it's groundbreaking news. Teachers need to be humans. Yeah, no duh.
Alberto Carvalho, who was the superintendent of the Los Angeles United School District, which, for context, is America's second biggest school district. Now, he's been in the news because he basically resigned his job, and it was not entirely clear why he resigned. And it's since come out in the past couple of days that he actually was going to be forced to leave. And there's a few reasons for this, but one of the main reasons was that he was basically getting funding from a company called All Here Education. Now, when I say funding, things that were documented was they paid for him, for example, to go to the White House. They paid for, I think, a box for him at a sporting event as well. So this is all documented. They're called All Here Education. Now, this kind of stuff happens all the time. That's what lobbying basically is. What happened was that he was in charge of basically signing up the Los Angeles School District to All Here Education's chatbot for a significant amount of money. And it then transpired that this company went bust. And they'd already taken like half of that money and basically done nothing with it. And when people went through due diligence, what should happen is several people should be invited to bid, and then that should go to an independent adjudicator who should then look at the pros and cons of each of those bids, right? And it turns out that All Here Education, prior to guaranteeing delivery of this $11 million chatbot, actually had revenue of $11,000. Now, that for me is a huge red flag. And that organization as well, people involved with All Here Education, not the superintendent, but have now since been arrested for fraud. So this is a huge news story. I think it's a great example of not only corruption, but also what can happen with fear of missing out. So if I was to give my most generous read of what's happened with the superintendent, they've thought to themselves, oh, we need to have a chatbot implemented across our system. This looks like a really good one. Let's do that. We need to do something. And has wasted millions of dollars. The obviously slightly less generous read is that maybe something else was going on there if he was receiving in-kind contributions from this company whilst also bringing them in. So yeah, would love to hear your take on this, Leor.
Yeah, I think hopefully we'll find out what truly happened here, but this could just be, it could be two things. Either it's negligence on this politician's part, which I think should also be criminal, or it was intentional. And either way, he should be investigated and prosecuted. So, but one thing's for sure, taxpayer money has been wasted. That's 100% either way. Do these politicians really go through these companies that they're just throwing money at? Did this politician know that this company only made $11,000? And yeah, it was a $6 million contract.
Yeah, that's right. 6 million, not 11 million. You're right. Thank you. Yeah.
Paid $3 million up front. 86 days after the launch party, the whole staff was furloughed, and then they were bankrupt by August. Taxpayer money just wasted, which I think everybody, regardless of political party, should be outraged by, because where is our tax money really going?
In education as well, which is massively stretched for funds. Yeah. And you're right, like $6 million, not 11 million, but that's a lot of money, you know, that could pay for several dozen teachers, for example. The state of California has now just put into law that teachers have to be human. So it makes massive ripples. So they're trying to put into legislation that teachers have to be human, which I think is probably quite a good step.
The fact that's even a news story, like it's groundbreaking news. Teachers need to be humans. Yeah, duh. Have we really come that far?
And I think both of us are like broadly pro AI, and I think there is a place for AI in the classroom, but like certainly not to replace teachers. And again, I think it's just, this is really important for people to follow due process in these things. And like oftentimes this is how people get like how the bad guys and gals get caught out, because they don't follow due process with procurement. Like things which might on paper seem very boring are actually extremely important rules that need to be followed for this exact reason. Anybody could have told you why you handed over a $6 billion contract to someone who's made $11,000 in the past year. Doesn't make any sense to me.